Hey friends, it's Megan Thomas. I'm here with bad hair but a good attitude, and we are going to take a look at a website today. We are going to see how accessible it is. So remember, these videos are for educational purposes. I am not here to roast a business. I am here to help, but I'm using these as examples because they are real businesses out in the real world with real customers, and they're not always doing a great job at being inclusive. So I picked this one to take a look at with you today because I just did one of my web accessibility and usability evaluations, number 62 of 100, and we found some really interesting things on this one. So I decided I would make it my video of the week. This is chainguard.dev. This is an open source software, cybersecurity, something like that. What's so very interesting is it actually doesn't matter if you understand what it is that they're selling. You can still do a website evaluation. We can always find accessibility issues. Even though it looks fine, it's probably blocking some key customers, and more importantly, it's probably losing them money. So let me show you a couple of issues, and then we're going to talk about how to fix them. All right, so ChainGuard is secure by default open source software. Yeah, obviously you can read too. When we went through some of the website basics, things that should exist on your website, no matter who your customers are, things I look for include privacy policy, terms and conditions, but I also look for an accessibility statement. Okay, so having an accessibility statement on this website would be really helpful because it tells your customers that your website is designed to be usable by everyone, including people with disabilities. We can't make assumptions about who the people are that are visiting our website as potential clients. We have no concept of what disabilities that they might have that impact how they use your website. So we don't make assumptions. We just want to make sure that everyone can use it because we will take everyone's money equally, right? Right. So having this accessibility statement shows that you're aware of accessibility, that you're working to meet legal requirements like the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, that requires companies to make sure that they've done the best that they can to include people who may have disabilities. It also shows that you're open to hearing from users that may run into issues on your website. So an accessibility statement, and let me go ahead and pull up mine just because it's easy, megan.co, and then I've got down here at the bottom, I've got my accessibility statement. So what it typically includes is steps you've taken, such as using alt text for images, making sure that people can use keyboard navigation to move around the website, or that you've even conducted screen reader testing. It can also include what you're still working on, and ideally at least 2 ways to get in touch with you so that people can let you know if they've run into issues. I have my business phone number and my business email. This is how people can get in contact if they have any concerns or issues with using the website, and this also can help add like some buffer time between someone going, I can't use your website, I'm going to sue. There's that tiny bit of, hey, maybe I should ask and see if there's a way that they can accommodate me. And the accessibility statement provides that opportunity that nothing else will. So you can think of your accessibility statement as a little bit of a friendly invitation. We're doing our best to make this site accessible. If something's not working for you, let us know. We want to fix it. So ChainGuard could do just a tiny bit better and include an accessibility statement, which is actually really easy to do. All right, what else did I notice on here? Okay, so let's go up to the website real quick. At the top, I'm going to refresh the page and I'm going to press tab. Now, the first thing we don't see is a skip link, but I've talked about that before. We do see that there is a little bit of a focus indicator that shows up on the left and bottom sides of this primary logo here. But we actually lose that when we navigate to other parts of this top level navigation, this primary navigation of products, solution, customers, resources. If I am temporarily unable to use my mouse, maybe the battery wore off, but that's okay. I can still navigate with my keyboard because that's the default way to engage with a computer interface. Like back in the day, they didn't come with mice. But that's talking about the ancient times. What I'm missing here is a way for me to know where I'm interacting on this website. Notice that you hear me tapping, I'm on the tab key, but we're not seeing anything light up to say, here's where you are, Megan. So if I continue tabbing, then we see pricing light up a little bit. It would be ideal if there was something a little bit more vibrant, which we do see when we navigate through the page. We expect to see this focus indicator. It should be a clear, visible focus indicator set on each element as it receives focus. Remember, we can never receive focus on an element using the mouse, only with the keyboard, and that is essential for people to know where they're going and what's happening on the screen. So all they actually need to do is add a focus indicator, and I'll even show you. I'm gonna right click and inspect. Now, if you see up in the middle of my screen, so I'm hovering in the dev tools on this right hand panel, but over in the middle top of the screen, we see resources, that primary navigation. It's getting a green highlight. What that's doing is the browser is showing me what the actual element is, which is the little box around the word resources, and then there's a bunch of padding around it, like a little bit of cotton around it, just to give it some space, some breathing room, right? So what we would expect to see is that down here in the styles, I'm actually going to force a hover style on it. So notice what shows up here is a 2 pixel wide blue border that is a dashed line. So that is super easy. And this is just one line of code. We're going to move on to the next item that I found. So we're taking a look here at the front page. I'm a new user. I know kind of what I'm looking for, and that's why I'm on this company's website. But moving animated objects on screens are very distracting, and it's actually sometimes overwhelming for folks. You might find people who get migraines or people who have epilepsy or other neurological disorders, they can be confronted by this animation, which for some folks, it is so overwhelming and frustrating. This movement we have right here, this scrolling, it's an animated element that cannot be stopped. It cannot be paused, and it cannot be hidden. Let's be real, some sales director or marketing manager was like, yeah, let's do it. But they don't know the impact that it can have on some of their potential clients and the fact that it can lose them money. So we want to make sure that the moving or animated content can be paused, stopped, or hidden. Ideally, we would put some kind of like anchored pause button down here somewhere that says, hey, you can turn this off. It's totally okay. And then I have time to actually read what's going on here. This is like seeing one of those signs beside the interstate where you're like, I only got half the message before I drove by. So we want to make sure people can process information, that they have enough time to do so. Okay, so one of the major calls to action on this website is, hey, talk to us, get started, contact us, talk to an expert. They really want you to talk to someone because this is probably complex technology. And if you don't know exactly what you're looking for or shopping for, you may not recognize that this could solve your problem. Again, this isn't my world, so I'm probably not an ideal customer for them, but I can tell you that your contact us form has some issues. So right now, what we would love to see on all forms across the internet, because we want to make sure that people can fill them out so that you can get your sales contact and get in touch with people and make that money. But if they can't fill out your form, you're losing money. If that's your number one call to action, get in touch with us, and your form isn't accessible, there's 15% of your income potentially lost there. If they made some changes, it could be improved. So technically, right off the bat, this has visible, meaningful text labels. Okay, so for my voiceover, which is a Mac accessibility feature, it's baked into here. I'm not using a downloaded software, and I'm not using any kind of external tool. And it does in fact say the first name, and it does say required. But as a sighted user, someone who's not using the voiceover utility, I had no idea that that input is required. And those required labels need to be identified in the label text. Now, you can get around this by saying everything's required unless it's marked as optional. And so this phone number marked as optional.
Message to Chandler. Optional.
VoiceOver is not always great at pronouncing the names of companies because I don't know why, it just isn't, and that's okay. What I noticed was that the message to chain guard has parentheses optional, but it doesn't say anywhere in the assistant information for this form that anything that is not marked optional is required. You have to let people know. So any required field needs to be identified in the label text that it's required. All right, so we found out that the form controls do have a meaningful text label. It's not always visible because when we start typing and I start adding BS website emails, now we actually don't have a visible label. That label, it should be left justified, and we are seeing that it's left justified, and that's great. But now we don't see what those labels are once we've gotten started typing. This is a completely meaningless form label. Now, you and I both know if I'm a manager at a company that might buy something like this, I'm probably getting pop-up notifications about emails. I'm probably getting phone calls. I'm getting Slack messages. There's all sorts of things that can come up to distract me. And then I come back and go, what is happening here? It is just unreasonably confusing for people. So we would like to see those field labels to the left of the field and outside of the form control. These are actually just placeholder text. If I take a right click and I look at it in my developer tools, we see the input ID. We do see that it's required, even though it does not have any visual indication that it is. And we see placeholder text, work email, but that is not a meaningful text label when there's nothing inside of here. So what we would like to see, there's a label ID, label for work email. So that's being read out. Why can't we see it? What I'd love to see is that work email is listed up here above the form field. And yes, a lot of developers / modern marketers are going to say, but it doesn't look as pretty. And I get it. We can still style them in a way that is more visually appealing. It's fine, but just give people enough information to work with and remain consistent. So that would be ideal. But this makes it hard for people to understand. Secondly, blah, 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 @.com. And then my name is Blurt and my last name is Blurt, and I don't have a company and I don't have a phone number and I don't have a message to you, but I do want to contact you. I'm not getting any kind of error message that I need to do something different in order to process this form. So if I have messed up somehow, maybe I misspelled something, what's going on? There's no form error. It did, in fact, I saw something move. So notice how we said, let's do no@no.com. First name, last name. I'm not going to put anything else in because it doesn't look like it's required. So contact us. It feels like something's showing up right here. It dropped down as if there is an error message, but we do not see an error message. So I got all the time in the world and I'm going to sit here and just wait until the website smacks me upside the face and is like, hey, dummy, you actually got to enter information in those fields that don't look like they're required. Or I go, fuck this website, and I walk away because it's not my problem that you can't take my information in, which means I'm never getting a call from your sales guy, which means you're never setting up that first call and potentially locking me in as a client willing to give you probably a really good amount of money per month and per year. Do you see how this could lose them money? And it literally is as simple as your form, the main call to action in your primary navigation. Your form makes it hard for me to give you my information. Okay, so these are customer case studies where this company, ChainGuard, gets to show all the other potential companies how awesome they are by describing what it is that they do and how they work with these organizations. And we actually see some videos here, and I'm going to hit pause because one thing we did find is that there are closed captions. Thank you so much. It would be ideal up here at the top, maybe underneath the video, provide a transcript. People are sometimes traveling on the train or on the subway or on the bus. They might be in very bright sunlight. They might be in really bouncy conditions and it makes it really hard to watch a video. They may find themselves unable to listen. I forgot my headphones at home. So provide an alternative way to gather the information in this video. And that's literally as simple as having that video transcribed, formatting that transcript, and providing it as a document. That is inclusive. It makes sure that people who are deaf and hard of hearing or temporarily impaired by their surroundings still have access to all that information and therefore can potentially make you a sale. Like, it doesn't make sense not to. Hopefully what I've shown you today makes it seem easy, because it is, to make some of these decisions that make your customers feel more included and feel like they have access to all of the information that they need, and that you not only see that it's necessary, but it's possible and it's not hard to do. If you want to check your own website, I've shared a link in the description. It's quickwins.card.co. If you want me to personally review your website like this, I can do a recorded accessibility and UX walkthrough for you. You'll get a video and a list of suggested issues to fix that will improve your customer's experience. And I also have options for doing a full evaluation with prioritized fixes that you can basically just hand off to your developers with business impact scoring and remediation support. You can find that information in the description as well. I really appreciate you being here today, and I'm excited to take a look at next week's video as well. All right, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.